Hello, hello, and welcome to Rory's Brainworks, where we get creative and see if it works. Today is a tutorial day, but before I get into that, I wanted to first talk about my rope sponsor, Knothead Nylon. Go to knotheadnylon.com to get some wonderful nylon ropes, which will be the ones that I'll be using today. And it's also brought to you in part by Patreon, all those beautiful people over there who make all of this artistic endeavors possible. I'm sure you're all wondering, bustling with anticipation, I am sure, to know what the first tutorial is. Well, we're going to be doing the Hishi Karada, or the diamond harness, or just rope dress, if you will. Marie's going to be giving me a hand with this. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, this will be the one and only time I make that joke, I swear. Hishi Karada vaguely translates to the body in Japanese, which is why it's often known as the rope dress or the body harness or the diamond harness, because that is the shape that it mostly goes with. Before we begin, it's always important to talk about three major things: safety, precaution, and consent. Safe, sane, and consensual. Safety, make sure you always have some kind of tool or implement to cut the ropes if the worst should come to pass. As for precaution, it is always very important to be wary of places of high blood flow and high lymphatic flow. Usually these areas are relegated to joint areas like the axillary, the elbow ditch, behind the knee, up into the neck. Resist tying too tightly around, or you will end up with a few problems on your hands. We're all consenting adults. Make sure you communicate with your partner. All right, let's begin. Now, the Hishi Karada can usually be done with one bundle of 30 feet of rope. For this one, I'm going to use two bundles, two different colors. I'm going to go with the bronze and the golden lariat, just because I think they look pretty. They're warm and earthy together. And I'm going to be adding my own little twist on the Hishi Karada for this one, because I have to. And since this tie is usually done with one rope, I'm going to show you variants for the singular and the double that I'm doing. So, we're going to be using 2 knots for this tie. Admittedly, one of the knots is just going to be used as a square knot to bind our 2 ropes together. So, in order to do this, I have the middle of my first rope put into a loop. The end of my second rope is going to go from underneath up. It's going to go around and then back through the loop from whence it came. And that will create a square knot. All you have to do at that point is just find the middle of the second rope, and you're going to be good to go. Now the second knot we're going to be using is just the overhand knot. It's a very simple knot that most people know how to do without knowing the name of it. Go over the hand once, back up through the rope, pull through the loop, and you got yourself an overhand knot. You can loosen it up just a little bit and push up from the bottom to raise it, and the same thing to bring it down if you need to adjust the knot at all. Now, since I am doing a variant, I'm going to be showing you how I will be doing my ropes. My overhand knot's going to be using alternating colors. You have to be rather precise with this, so we're going to do the overhand, make sure I have the right colors, because what's gold and bronze here is going to be bronze and gold on the other side. So when we pull it through, we make sure that we have the bronze and the gold on the other side. As you can see, we have them alternated. Tighten it up. That's what I'm going to be doing. Now let's get to it. Now that we got our square knot, we can finally begin the process. So this is going to be our base. We're going to put it around our partner's neck. And then we're going to get ready to do our first overhand knot. We're going to do it near the manubrium, or the top of the sternum, just below the jugular notch right here. I have to be extra careful with mine, because it's the first knot, and the first knot is always the trickiest. Now it's always very important not to use a slip near the neck. You don't want anything that's going to tighten progressively and cut off the airflow to your partner, unless that's something you have specifically talked about beforehand, in which case, do it very safely. As you can see already, I got the bronze over here and gold on this side, gold, bronze. We're going to do that alternating. Now I've learned that with the 2 ropes, I can't do 5 knots down the body. I'm going to have to do 4 knots because I'm left with no rope at the end and I can't tie it off. But that's a whole part of the process. That's learning and growing is what makes you better. Now again with the second knot, I got alternating colors going down. Those of you using just one rope, congratulations, as long as you have not messed up the overhand knot, you should be fine. When separating your knots, it's important to find some kind of distance that can be the same. For me, I'm using the tip of my forefinger to the end of the knuckle to try and figure out how far I want to separate these knots for the diamond part of the harness. Now once we've reached this point, we can either go underneath the crotch, or if you and your partner are not comfortable going underneath the crotch, you can go across the hips. You'll mostly get the same effect. It's all about preference and comfort, and communication is incredibly key for this sort of thing. Always stay in constant communication with your partner. So I'm going to go through the crotch, tighten just a little bit. Be sure to ask if it's not too tight. Is that okay, Marie? Yeah, it's perfectly fine, Rory. Awesome, we're good. And I'll show you what's happening around the other end. Now once around the other end, I like to cup the bottom of the glutes right here because it adds a lot of lift, and you know, people seem to like that. And we're going to take the ropes and go around. Once around, I'm sure you will notice that I have the opposite colors connecting to the strands we created earlier. They're opposite patterns. Now, there's also something very important I need to talk about in this instance. You're going to have to make the decision now whether or not you were going to be a person that goes under and over, or over and under. A long time ago, there was once a war of those who went under to over and over to under. It was a pitched battle, both sides losing mass casualties. In the end, there was naught but tears and rope burn. You can be one of the people that also do alternating patterns. You can do under and over for one and over and under for the other, in which case you are weird, but I respect you. Moving on. So once you've come around, you can either do a quick little crisscross like that, or alternatively, you can do up a shoelace, kind of like that. Adds a little extra structure and integrity. I prefer the crisscross. And it is all about preferences. You'll find out which you prefer as well. Back around to create another diamond. Now I'm not taking a stance or anything, but I am an under and over type of guy. It's just my aesthetic. It's just how I like it. Make sure that your ropes are straight, and when you tighten, make sure you stay in constant communication with your partner. Marie, is that still okay? It's perfectly fine, Rory. Wonderful. Now, as far as the back is concerned, I like to do alternating patterns. Don't judge me. Tighten that bad boy up. And bring it around to finish up. Now, how are we going to finish this bad boy up? Well, for beginners, you can do it like you would tying your shoes. People say that square knots have no room in Shibari, and those people would be wrong. Those people are trying to limit what you can and cannot do. Don't listen to those people. Make up your own mind. If that's how you create art, that's how you create art. Alternatively, we can add some structural integrity to what's going on in the back of the neck. If your partner does feel like it's a little bit too tight coming upwards, we can add additional pressure in the back to try and even that out. So I myself just crossed a pattern so that the opposite sides were touching again. And now I've just looped around, and since I went over, I must go under in this one. That's a part of weaving, and I will get to weaving in another video. Now I just ended up braiding it down and then sticking it below the two crisscross ropes we have right there. I do have about 1.5 feet of leftover gold lariat. What am I going to do with it? I don't know. And that's the fun of it. You can do anything with it. Use your imagination. That's the point. Sometimes you have to leave these things open-ended to let the person who is learning try and figure it out for themselves. That's your goal.
That's your homework. I want you to create some art. Now, dare I say, we have a nice little Hishi Karada going on right here. Lovely. I hope yours looks just as great, if not better.
That is our Hishi Karada. I hope you had as much fun making yours as I did mine. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this madness, and comment below what kind of Shibari or Kambaku things you would like me to teach you. And as always, be safe and go create some art.